The overall market is completely blinded by the halvening. But something else is coming to Bitcoin, something that is just going to introduce a whole lot more shitcoining. And we already discussed this in a previous clip, but we're going to talk about it again because it's coming and we are not going to be able to stop it. Let's dive into runes. Welcome back, everyone. Supposedly, if we thought the transaction fees were bad with ordinals and inscriptions and BRC20 mints, supposedly, even though runes are going to be more efficient, supposedly we are going to be getting jacked on these fees. Anyways, guys, as you know, I did a clip about runes, or you may know, I did a clip about runes a few months ago. I will link to it in this clip. We're just going to do a quick overview again for people and then dive into the actual story that we're talking about. So for the people who missed what runes are. So let's dive into it. Runes are fungible tokens directly issued on Bitcoin using the runes protocol. Ordinals creator Casey Rodarmer proposed the new protocol in September 2023, pitching it as a better and simpler alternative to the experimental BRC20 standard for fungible tokens. BRC20 tokens launched in March 2023 by the pseudonymous developer Domo. About 3 months later, the value of BRC20 tokens soared, hitting a market cap of $1 billion. Although the token standard allowed users to create Bitcoin native fungible tokens for the first time, it also led to excessive production of junk UTXOs. Of course, junk is in quotations because it's subjective, right? Somebody's garbage is another man's, right? One person's garbage is another man's treasure, so to speak. Anyways, so that junk clogged the network. Rodarmer seeks to solve this issue with UTXO-based protocol that will prevent the generation of junk UTXOs. So Bitcoin uses the UTXO model, as we all know, where a transaction consists of inputs and outputs. When a transaction occurs, the input is deleted and an output is generated. The output left behind is referred to as a UTXO, which can be used later in a new transaction. In other words, unspent transaction outputs. UTXOs are the coins left in a wallet after completing a transaction. Unlike the fungible token protocols for Bitcoin, Runes doesn't require off-chain data or a native token to operate. For instance, the Taproot asset protocol uses UTXOs but stores asset metadata off-chain. Alternatively, Counterparty, a protocol built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, requires a native token for some operations and is not UTXO-based. With the Runes protocol now in the picture, the issuance of fungible tokens on Bitcoin is becoming more and more polished. So, right, this is the way of framing this whole story, right? It's making things better. Now, we have our background on runes for the people who don't want to go back and watch the original clip about why they are going to be a giant grift, okay? But yeah, so it's coming around the corner, and let's dive into it a little bit more, because maybe runes aren't exactly what they seem to be. Anyways, Runes is so widely anticipated that Bitcoiners are already predicting a torrent of transactions. Bids from Runes users could spike fees over 1,000 Satoshis per VByte. For context, current transaction fees on Bitcoin are below 10 sats per VByte. Rodarmer is a Bitcoin developer and founded Ordinals, a protocol that allows participants to create NFT-like inscriptions within Bitcoin transactions. Despite Rodarmer's repeated admonishments and pleas for patience, his ordinal software also enabled unauthorized BRC20 fungible tokens like Ordi. Rodarmer's motivation for runes is somewhat fatalistic and defeatist. Fungible tokens, okay, and this is him saying this, okay? So I want you guys to keep this in mind, all right, when you are being marketed these products. And again, if you are a person who understands that you are collecting something that is truly of no value, as long as you understand that it is a collectible for the sake of a collectible, I don't believe there's a tragedy. The tragedy occurs when you believe that you are investing or you are storing your value with these types of things. Okay, this is where the tragedy occurs, and this is where I have a problem with the grifters of these things. Anyways, so Rodarmer's motivation for runes is somewhat fatalistic and defeatist. Fungible tokens are 99% scams and memes. Now, he's being very nice, not saying 100%. And the reason why he's not saying 100% is because some people, some of these people that put out these things are actually being honest, right? it's kind of interesting to say, but yeah, some of them are being honest. Some of them know outright that it's just a joke and they're having fun. Okay? That's simple. Anyways, however, they don't appear to be going away anytime soon. Yes, that is his primary verbatim justification for launching runes. So you need to understand the person who developed this understands that that people are going to use this as a grift. Okay? People are going to use this to extract value out of you. That's what this is going to be used for. One of the ways that runes will be superior to BRC20, he claims, is that runes will require fewer on-chain minting transactions. The BRC20 token already, for example, generated thousands of minting transactions when it launched. In his marketing material, Rotimer is naturally quick to claim that he's merely launching a platform for digital commodities. This is a fantastic claim given the similar platforms like ERC20 and ERC721 have been platforms for many, many unregistered securities. Rotimer is a celebrity among meme coin traders. There are countless rune-themed copycats on alternate blockchains and second layers. Yesterday, for instance, someone launched an unauthorized. How is it even unauthorized? Like, you could just create anything on these shit chains. Anyways, unauthorized runes meme coin on Solana. Even though it has nothing to do with Rotimer nor the Real Runes project, the doppelganger rallied thousands of percentage points within hours anyways. Rotimer thinks current protocols for creating Bitcoin-based fungible tokens are not good enough. Sure, that's fair. He has mostly deflected debates on whether fungible tokens even belong on Bitcoin in the first place. I don't blame him for that, because it is a gray area, and it kind of brings about, it's okay, so what degenerate behavior is considered permitted and what isn't. And then that brings up the whole thing of, well, wait a second, like, isn't this an open ledger, right? If I'm following the rules, shouldn't I be allowed to use it? Anyways, we're not getting into that. His primary motivation seems to be creating a competing protocol to the BRC20 standard that he doesn't control. From the developer himself, okay? He is explaining that this stuff is mostly for scam and grifts, okay? So I think that sometimes people get upset with developers when they make things like this, thinking that they're evil and their intention is evil and whatnot. And I mean, I can't look. I'm not gonna sit there and give what I believe Casey's intentions are. I think Casey is technical and likes to tinker. Okay, like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Curiosity is curiosity. It's fantastic. Essentially, necessity is the mother of all innovation. And hey, we are going to have these types of things. The real problem are the people who look at people like Casey, the companies that look at people like Casey and just see the dollar bills, right? They look at Casey, they look at what he's doing, and they say, I can use what this guy is doing in order to sell people things they don't need for prices they can't afford. And of course, that's obviously subjective, because somebody will sit there and be like, well, if I have one Bitcoin and I'm willing to spend it on this, doesn't that mean I can afford it? Can you really afford it, though? Can you really afford it? A lot of us are not thinking of big picture stuff, okay? Just because you can afford the price tag doesn't mean you can truly afford something. But anyways, that is a topic for another clip. The point is this, guys. It's going to be a grift. It's no surprise that it's going to be a grift. The marketing machine is going to be very loud. Anybody who is not playing these stupid games and attempting to win these stupid prizes is going to be seen as we have been seen in the past, right? You're a dinosaur. You don't understand innovation. And these kinds of ridiculous things, which, if we look at it today, all the people who told me about all this amazing shitcoin innovation 6-7 years ago, guess what? None of that shit matters today. All of it is still a grift. So what innovation did you get out of shitcoins? The only innovation that occurred was that value was extracted from duped noobs. That's all there is to it. It was just duped, naive noobs who were separated from their Bitcoin. The last point I want to make about this is this, right? Every single time the fees spike, these what I believe to be bad actors, they come out of the woodwork and they start poking, and they start talking about the bigger blocks, and they start talking about, they start talking about putting everything on the base layer. And you see, this is how Bitcoin's broken. Look, they tried to do this with the block size wars, okay? And for some fucking reason, we are stuck arguing this shit again because some people decided to platform an outright fucking grifter, okay? Plain and simple. And we're going to see this again and again. The reality is that when I am faced with time-sensitive decisions that need to be made, I always ask myself, why do I need to make this decision so soon? And who stands to benefit from me making this decision right now? Okay? So it's always, you could even look at politics, right? It's the same type of thing. Okay? Guys, the mortgage crisis, what do you think happened? They pushed and they pushed and they made it a very, very time-sensitive decision. You need to act now or the economy goes away. It disappears. Everyone becomes poor. So it's the same type of thing with this, right? These bad actors come out and they're like, you don't understand. Bitcoin's going to die if we don't fix this, okay? And this is what you get. So you get a whole bunch of people, these concern trolls that make you think that all of a sudden, because you have high transaction fees for a very small amount of time, probably in the grand scheme of things, it'll be completely irrelevant, but they're trying to get you to make the change now. And the reason they need you to make this change now is because the same opportunity will not exist later. So you make the change now. We need this decision now. Be wary, guys. Be wary. Bitcoin is always being attacked. Okay, Bitcoin is always being attacked. Then they fight you is in full effect. We don't know who the sheep are. We don't know who the wolves are. Guys, that is the clip for today. Be vigilant. Don't fall for all the marketing. And I am going to catch you all tomorrow.